Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here on DarkSec. I'm Dark, and today we're going to be going over the TryHackMe room and VulnHub VM, Mr. Robot CTF. This is a CTF based on the Mr. Robot show. It is an incredibly well done box, and we're going to take a look at some of the artistic elements of this, and we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Perfect. So I've gone ahead and already joined the room. I'm already connected to the TryHackMe VPN, and I've gone ahead and already deployed the box. You will need to do those few things before you start. But we can go ahead and scroll down, and we can see that I've got my IP address here for the target, and we can see that we're given a little bit of text here. So task 1 is just connecting to the network. I'm going to go ahead and skip over that, since if you haven't done it before, it's pretty easy, but if you have done it before, you can pretty much blaze past that as well. So task 2 is going to be hack the machine. Can you root this Mr. Robot styled machine? This is a virtual machine meant for beginner/intermediate users. There are 3 hidden keys located on the machine. Can you find them? And then credit to Leon Johnson, he did an amazing job with this machine, and this is something that I highly, highly recommend going through and doing yourself if you have the time. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop over to our terminal, and we can go ahead and start scanning this. Alright, so we've gone ahead and hopped over to our terminal. We're going to go ahead and scan this box with the command nmap -sv for version enumeration, -sc for common scripts, -oa. This is going to run generate all versions of output, and I've gone ahead and I've already made a Mr. Robot directory here, and then a scans directory within that, and I'm going to name it initial, and then I have the box IP there. For the sake of time, I've gone ahead and already run this. We can go ahead and do less, and then scans. Let's do initial.nmap, and we can see this is the output. So we have 3 ports open. It looks like this one's sort of open, the SSH port. It's reporting itself as closed, so I'm not quite sure why it's responding to the Nmap scan. But otherwise, we have, it looks like a web server running on this. So we have port 80 and port 443 that are open. Let's go ahead and hop over to the web browser and take a look at that. So we can paste in that IP, and let's see what we got. So this is an incredibly stylized website. Very, very cool, and one of the best parts of this room. So we can see that it's attempting a login for us, and it's going to give us some Mr. Robot style flavor text. Hello friend, if you've come for a reason. You may not be able to explain it yet, but there's a part of you that's exhausted with this world. And you can see that there's a lot that goes through, a lot of world building in this room. There's a number of commands that it presents to us, and they won't necessarily get you anywhere, but they're fun to play with, and they will get you a lot of fun art pop-ups for the room. And we're going to take a quick look at an Easter egg here. So if we go and view the source code, we can see that we have this comment here, "You are not alone." Very creepy and very cool. So we've gone ahead, we've taken a look at that. We're actually going to take a look at a common file that we're going to find on websites just to see what might be restricted. So this is robots.txt. This is a file that's used to tell web crawlers, or well-behaved web crawlers, different files or directories that you don't want to have indexed. So for example, if Google is going through and examining your site and you don't want them to, for example, index your admin page, you can put that in here. However, this doesn't stop anyone that's a, well, poorly behaved bot or just a hacker from going through and reading this file and seeing, hey, you've got all these valuable things in here. Why don't I take a look at them? So here we got a couple entries. We have this fsociety.dic. This is presumably a dictionary file. That's a very common ending. That is a list of words that is typically used in password attacks. In this case, we'll go ahead and download that in just a moment. And then we have our first key. So if we go through and navigate to key-1 of 3.txt, that will actually show us the first flag, so you can go ahead and do that on your own. We're going to go through that to that fsociety.dic, and note that is misspelled on purpose, and we can see that it's prompting us to download that dictionary file. In this case, I've gone ahead and already downloaded it, but you're going to want to go ahead and save this, as we will need it for a couple other things in this box. Let's go ahead and jump back over, and we can take a look. Let's actually jump over. I've gone ahead and already run this, but we're going to do a directory brute force against this and see if there's anything else lurking on this web server. In this case, I've gone ahead and already done that with Gobuster, with the command Gobuster dir-u, and then the actual website with HTTP colon // before it, and then I've specified a word list. This is not the common place that you'll find this. This will be in your USR. Here, one sec. It'll be in your USR share word list Gobuster directory if you are doing this or following along at home. But I've gone ahead and I've moved it to my op directory for convenience. So I've run it against the directory list small with 100 threads, quiet output, so it won't actually show me a bunch of errors. And then I've gone ahead and output it to the skins directory with a gobuster-small.txt file name. Let's take a look at that. So taking a look at the output here, we can see that we have a number of 301s, which are going to be redirects in this specific case. However, we do have a couple 200s. We see first this sitemap, which sometimes can give us a full map of the website. And we have, let's see, an intro, which probably is that main screen that we're seeing. We have a WP login. Now, this is very interesting. And then we have license, README, and robots. Let's take a look at that WP login here. So we'll go to 10.10.12.13, and note your IP is going to be different. We'll go here, and we can see, that's a little bit of a spoiler, but we can see that we have a WordPress login. Now, if you've watched, oh my goodness, there's another video that I've done of this. There's another video that I've done on WordPress sites. These are oftentimes very vulnerable WordPress sites, and other content management sites or management system CMSs are often victim to pretty big issues and vulnerabilities. So whenever you see something like this, WordPress, Fuel CMS, October CMS, any of those, you should start investigating what version it's running on, or if there's anything installed that's not supposed, it really shouldn't be installed. In this specific case, this WordPress is a good sign that this website is meant to be hacked, which, well, we know already because it's an intentionally vulnerable box. So it's likely that the creator of this, whoever set up this website, wanted their website to be hacked. So with this, we can go ahead and switch back over to the terminal. We are going to actually capture an initial login request from this using Burp Suite, and then we're going to go through and attempt to brute force using that dictionary file that we found, the username, and then the password that we need to log in here. So first, we're going to go ahead, and I do have my burp proxy already turned on. I'm just using Foxy Proxy Standard. This is a free plugin for Firefox. You can find something else similar to that, or just use this. And I've launched Burp Suite here. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and turn intercept to on, and we're going to attempt a failed login here with just admin. And we can see that we've intercepted that request, so that post request here. Taking a look at this, there's one specific section we care about, and it's going to be this section where we can see how the username and then the password are transmitted to attempt this logon attempt, or to attempt to log in here. Taking this, we can actually turn intercept off again because we don't need it. And we're going to switch back over to the terminal to attempt to brute force this login. Moving over to this next tab, and I'll make this a little bit bigger so that it's easier to read. I've gone ahead and started the brute force here of this login. One specific note, using Hydra here to brute force this, make sure this is not going on at the same time as you're running Gobuster. Otherwise, the website will just crawl when you're trying to attack it. Here we can see that I've typed out the command Hydra -L. We're going to go up to here, capital L. That is going to be specifying the login list or the list of usernames that we want to use. And then -p is going to be the static password that we're going to try. And we're going to take advantage of the fact that this website, if we go here, we can see that we have very verbose errors here. We have an invalid username error, which is not something that we should ever see. If you actually see that there are differing errors, depending on if the username and password are different on a site, this is a pen test finding, because you can go through and, as we're abusing right now, we can use that to enumerate usernames and attempt to log in. So we can take that, we have the IP here, and then we're going to use the HTTP-post-form method within Hydra, since we know it's a post request from Burp. And then we can go ahead and specify with this following string the actual parameters that we need. So we'll have /wp-login.php. That's going to be the specific page that we are sending this request to. Then we have the actual parameters that we care about, so the username and then the password, this user bit and the PWD bit. those are used by Hydra to specify where you want to have the username and the password actually at. And then we need to provide one more piece of information here beyond the actual threads that we want. This is going to be the string that if we return back to the web page, this is going to be what is displayed when we find our invalid, or what a typical failure is going to look like. So we can see that we have this invalid username, and we can take that and put it over here. And whenever we get that back, Hydra knows that's not a valid response. So it'll ignore those. If we put some, and we're going to use this again here in a moment to take a look at the actual passwords. I'll go ahead and run this because this is pretty quick. And we'll give it just a moment. It's not too happy with me because I've gone ahead and run this and I have a Hydra restore file. This is eventually going to come up with the username of Elliot. And again, make sure that you're using this fsociety or fsociety.dick file. So we have that valid username, and we can go back and we'll type in Elliot, and we can see that we get a different error for having an invalid password. Let's try that with a password actually there, because it was upset that the password was empty. Error, the password you entered for the username Elliot is incorrect. So we know we have a valid username here, and this is going to be that message up until this point that we can abuse to see once we finally have a valid password. So let's go ahead and go back to the terminal, and I'll clear that, and we'll move up here, and this is going to be the next command that we end up using. So again, we're going to use Hydra here. You can use WP scan if you want. There's a couple write-ups on this room that actually end up using that. We'll use Hydra with the dash lowercase l, since we're using a static username now of Elliot, and then dash capital P to specify that we're using a password dictionary again. And we'll use that password, so that fsociety.dick again here. And then very similarly, the rest of the request is almost going to be the same as what we used for the username. So we have the IP, HTTP post form, wp-login.php username, and then the password. And then we're going to add our error here of the password you entered for the username. This is what we're looking for that error message of when the actual login has failed, so that Hydra knows to avoid those. Once you've completed that, you will go ahead and get the password of, and let me go ahead and grab it from my notes here, Elliot's actual employee number. And if you follow the show, you'll recognize this. It's going to be ER28-0652. Now we can return back to the website, and let's try logging in with that. -0652. And we'll give it just a second. Sometimes WordPress can be very unhappy. And there we go. We can see that we log into the WordPress installation. Now, we've logged in as a user that has access to this editor. This is not good, because we can actually abuse this to get a reverse shell and command execution ultimately off of the underlying machine that this WordPress installation is running on. So if we hop over here, and there's a couple ways you can do this. You can either grab a reverse shell, or you can use, there's a reverse shell generator specifically for WordPress, or you can make one with MSF Venom. We can actually change the pages that are used in this theme to just have PHP that will send us a shell. But once we view that page, it's going to go ahead and launch it. Before we do all that, we're actually going to hop back over to the terminal one more time, and I'm going to go to my 6 tab here, and I'm going to start a netcat listener to catch our reverse shell. So I'm going to do that with RL wrap at the front. This is just a quality of life thing. You don't actually need this bit. It's going to give you command completion, tab completion rather, and a couple other nice things. And then I do netcat LVNP, so listen, verbose, reverse name lookup, and then specifying the port of 50. I use 50 or 53 rather. I use 53 specifically because that is the DNS port, and it's very rarely blocked on the outgoing firewall. You'll have pretty good luck using this port if you need to send yourself a reverse shell. So we can go ahead and launch that. We'll flip back over to this page. Actually, we're going to go find this on the internet. We're going to go grab ourselves a reverse shell. So I'm going to do PHP Reverse Shell, and we'll search for that in Google. And we're going to go to this first link here for Pentest Monkey. Pentest Monkey has a variety of cheat sheets that make hacking pretty easy. You can go through and use them for reverse shell one-liners and things like this. In this specific case, I'm going to use their PHP Reverse Shell because it does a wonderful job of sending us a very stable reverse shell. So clicking into this, we can click on raw and then just copy this, and then we can go back to WordPress. And I like to edit either the archives or the 404 page here. For the less destructive option, I would recommend going for the archives because the 404 is more often hit. But if we click into this, we can see that I've gone ahead and copy and pasted this in. Now, taking a look at our reverse shell, there are two things that we're going to have to change. The first here is the IP, and they're annotated pretty nicely with this. Change this to your IP. In this case, I've gone ahead and set my box IP, and then you're going to need to set the port to whatever you are listening on. If you're doing the same thing as me and sending it back to your DNS port, you'll just need to change it to 53, and we can click Update File. And we're going to go ahead and open up a new tab, grabbing this first little bit. We'll do WP Content, and I've gone ahead and I've already got it here. But if you enter in the string of WP-content themes 2015 archive.php, that's going to go ahead and load that file we've gone ahead and already modified. Going back to our terminal, we can see that we have successfully caught a reverse shell from our target machine, seeing this connection here. And we can go ahead and type, "Who am I?" and confirm that we are Damon, and then we'll type our host name just to see what we're operating on. And it looks like our host name is just Linux. So we've successfully gained remote code execution off of this host and caught a reverse shell. The next thing that we're going to want to do is figure out what users are on this machine, because we're a pretty low level user at this point. We want to give ourselves more power and escalate our privileges. So we'll go ahead and ls the home directory to see what we've got. And it looks like there's just this one robot user. If we cd home and then robot, we can see what files he has. And let's actually see if we can read any of these. And sure enough, we can't read the second flag that we want quite yet because it's owned by robot, and other users and groups can't actually read it. However, there is this password.raw-md5 that we can read. Let's go ahead and cat password.raw-md5. And it looks like we have a backup of the robot user password. That's not good. This is never safe to save your password like this. Don't ever do this. However, we're going to abuse this. We can go ahead and copy this onto our clipboard. So just copy that. I'm going to switch over to this tab where I've gone ahead and already pre-typed out the John the Ripper command. If you're not familiar with it, John the Ripper is a password cracker that is very fast. It relies on your CPU. You can also use Hashcat or a number of online crackers for this. However, I find that John the Ripper works pretty well in this case. Like I said, I've gone ahead and already typed out and pre-run this command. We're going to end up with John, and then the name of your file hash here, we can see that I have named it just md5.hash, and then the actual, if I go through, you can see that it's here with md5.hash, and we'll cap that md5.hash, and we can see that I've just copied that, the file hash, or the password hash rather, that we got off of our target system into this file. If we go up again to see the John the Ripper command, we can see that I've specified my word list of that fsociety.dic file again, and then I've specified the format. So John the Ripper, even though it will intelligently try to guess what the format is, in this case, it's not going to waste a bunch of time, and it will just automatically attempt the hash that we've got here. If you had any issues with guessing the hash, and I believe we have it on here, yeah. So if you had any issues determining the format of the hash, in this specific case, it actually gives it to you. Sometimes you can go through and also use hash identifier and then paste in your hash here. Never mind. Let me go grab that hash again. But this will actually tell you what the hash likely is. And if we press enter there, we can see that it's telling us it's just some sort of MD5. So this would be a little bit of a guessing game, but luckily we're given it in this case. So we can close that. And once we run that, we end up with the password of, let me copy it over here. We end up with the full alphabet in lowercase. Now, this is not actually a terrible password. It's lacking some complexity though. So this is something I would not end up using. The length is really nice, but knowing that, we can actually go back to our reverse shell and we're going to switch over to our robot user. So before we can switch over to the robot user, we do need to do one more thing. We're going to go ahead and upgrade our shell to be interactive. This is because the su command won't actually, it can't be run from a terminal that's not interactive. It'll get very upset with us. So we can go ahead and upgrade our shell using Python that's installed on the box with the command python-c import pty.spawn bin bash or whatever shell of your choosing, if I can spell bash correctly. And we'll go ahead and close that. And there we go. We can see that we have a fully interactive shell. With this, we can go ahead and change to the robot user. And I'll copy my password again onto my clipboard. And there we go. We can see that we've gained the robot user. And if we go through, we can confirm that with who am I, but even then it shows at the start of our terminal. We now have properly escalated, and we can read that second flag. In this specific case, to avoid spoilers, I'm not going to read it, but if you're following along at home, you can read it at this point. Awesome. Now, what we need to do next is properly escalate to the root user. In order to do this, I would typically run some privilege escalation scripts in this case. However, we're going to go ahead and start looking for SUID binaries to bypass a little bit. SUID binaries are binaries that have the SUID bit set. That sets you as a root user or another specified user when you're running it. In this specific case, we can run this command, the find command with these parameters specified, to see if we can find any SUID binaries that might be out of the ordinary. And sure enough, after running that, we can actually see that there is an Nmap binary that has the SUID binary or SUID bit set. We can go ahead and type nmap --interactive, and real quick, we're actually going to visit GTFO bins and take a look at where I'm actually getting this from. So if we search for Nmap, we can click on this, and we can see that so GTFO bins, if you haven't used it before, consist of a series of instructions for how you can break out or abuse binaries that you find on the system that may have the SUID bit set, or you might be able to run sudo with, in order to gain a root shell. In this specific case, we can see that there is the example command here that we actually need in order to spawn a shell, since we have the ability to run this as an elevated user. So we can do the command nmap --interactive, and then once we have that, we can do the command exclamation point sh to spawn ourselves a shell. And we can go ahead and do that right now. And typing who am I, we can see that we've gained root, and we'll do ls root, and we can see that we have our third key. And that's going to do it for this room. If you have any questions, I will have the official TryHackMe Discord linked below. I also have the DarkSec Discord linked below. If you enjoyed this walkthrough, follow me on Twitter, subscribe to me on YouTube, and otherwise, good luck with completing this room yourself, and happy hacking.